Hi, I wanted to do a collective reading in honor of Lionsgate and the new moon in Leo on 8/8. So may this be in the highest good of all that tune in. And I'm just starting with this Animal Spirit Raven card because I asked directly for a message from that deck for the collective. And that deck you can kind of like see. They have the descriptions on the back, so it's like a little too easy to glance down at the card. So I closed my eyes and shuffled for a long time, and then, said my little intention and pulled that. And then I asked a few more questions and pulled a few more cards for personal reasons. And then when I opened my eyes, I was sort of shocked to see the Raven card was the first card pulled, and for a couple of reasons. I'll tell you why, and then I'll pull some cards. As you can see, there's a feather here, so I found this just like 2 days ago, and I've been seeing crows and ravens everywhere, especially the last few days, and I've just really been trying to decipher what the energy and message is coming through there. I know there's sort of some lore around, them being kind of like bad news or bad luck, but I'd really like to dispel that, just like a witch. Everyone thinks witches and sorcerers are all bad, and like, that can be a consensus generalization and just out of fear of something not known. So I just, trust your gut no matter what, but I just maybe ask you to reconsider that. And I think a part of the message coming through there is don't be afraid of the dark. Now, I feel like I've been saying that theme keeps coming up this year, and I drew this card and the owl card at the start of the year. So it was kind of this strange revisitation. And ironically, how I told you I pulled a few more cards, the owl card also came up. It was for a personal question, but it just kind of was this like deja vu moment, because how much between January 2021 and August 2021 has occurred? Like, quite a lot. Quite a lot of shifts and movement, and the energy right now is like, there's almost like this edge of, I don't want to say violence, because if that's not your experience, then don't, superimpose this onto that. But I feel like the last week or so, there's been kind of this unstable energy happening. I guess that's maybe a better word for it, is unstable. And then it could show up as sort of this more violent edge personally, perhaps. Some deeper confrontation going on. Just themes of, I thought I was past this, and then here we are revisiting it on the spiral. And then just this kind of intensity and heat, like the flames getting turned up, the temperature just a little uncomfortable for the transformation, right? Which is fire. So I feel like that's like the previous week's energy, and then as we come into this, the moon is currently in Cancer while I'm recording this, so the sense of like, how do we find this like inner nourishment for maybe whatever sharp edges we did encounter, and then as we shift into Leo, like Leo has such a aggrandized, the sign itself is can be aggrandizement. It's the lion, the all-powerful lion, like in Game of Thrones, the Lannisters were, the lions. Like, there's just nothing can mess with you, the all-powerful king. And honestly, that all kind of turns me off. Like the more narcissistic edge to it, I don't love, I think, as maybe much as other people do in society. I'm more of a Black Panther girl. However, that's just me. This isn't about me. Um, that Leo is like really at its highest essence, it's the heart, right? So this new moon is really going to be like what's actually, can we drop into our heart center and what's going on there? Like what's your heart's deepest longing? You know, like if you could just stop and reflect or meditate on that, you know, like what do you really want in this lifetime? Like what does your heart want? Not just you or your story or your, you know, the mind with its preferences and like likes and dislikes, but just really in your core. And can you tap in to that and get connected to that? And then as you see in this card, right, there's like this bowl and like a feather's being used to stir up light and create. So Leo is also creativity, and there's this element of the void is where creation comes from, right? So the crow being the black of night, you know, and the dark getting a bad rap, but really it's a place where creation happens. Like the womb is dark, right? It's where creation happens. Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac, it's where everything collapses back into and then life springs forth from. So it can be like so hard to remember, like if you're in the grips of dark feelings or dark emotions or just confronting darkness, to remember that it's cyclical, right? So when the clock strikes midnight, it's not going to stay midnight. It's eventually going to come back around to high noon. And there's just this cyclical nature. That's also mirrored in this. The other messages coming through were, what were they? Sorry, something just distracted me and kind of threw me off. Oh yeah, if you have ever seen crows, that they're very social, very chatty, very together. So there was also this element of like, how can we work together and have each other's backs, right? Which is easier said than done, especially with all the volatility and differences of opinion happening right now. But that message is like birds of a feather flock together. And so how can we like stay open in our hearts to not only finding like-minded people, but also just having compassion for those with other viewpoints, right? The like agree to disagree, and just still having another's back as a human and respecting their life, their free choice, their, you know, like without turning them into an enemy, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, well that was a good little rant on just this card. So if it's about at the 10-minute mark, so if you would like to stop there and that was what you needed to hear, that was the collective message that wanted to come through here. But I'm gonna go ahead and still pull a few cards. And then the question is just going to be more specifically like what's important to know right now at this time moving forward. I'm just going to reground and reset. And as I do that, you can just kind of reflect on what was just shared. Ten of Cups is the first card to come out, ironically enough, with this rainbow of infinity, right? That's the 8 can be infinity. And that card specifically has this like structure and flow together. Fulfillment in the present moment. Wow, that's auspicious to, like everyone's like, oh, the Ten of Cups is such a joyful card. But in this deck, I love that there's an infinity symbol there. Okay, 2 cards just fell. So we have the Chariot and the 9 of Pentacles reversed. I feel like this is saying that there's definitely some kind of movement forward in relation to staying connected to the light in our heart, but then also having the dark and the light juxtaposed, right? Like I was just saying, don't be afraid of the dark. Like there's the dark horse and the light horse, but the darkness has its eyes open. And the light horse is like very docile, sleeping. And so how do we exist within any kind of darkness that's showing up for us right now, any kind of fear, uncertainty, also like just unconscious stuff? How can we be conscious of what's unconscious, and maybe set down? Sorry, I keep getting distracted. I might have to redo this. Not like, what am I trying to say here? Not like, okay, so now what I'm seeing with the closed eyes is like this, like when you just go stand out in the sun and close your eyes and just like let the sun cascade over your face and fill you with warmth. And like feeling that is a way to nourish and get clarity and insight and just reset. Meanwhile, being like awake and aware of anything else that might be wanting to interfere or pull you back or out of this. And so it's not that her eyes are closed to what's happening, it's that she's in tune with her heart. But then the darkness is also aware. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. But so for that 8/8, you know, we've got the sun, which rules Leo in the heart, the 8th month of August, and this infinity. And there's like a flow here, right? The sand dollars on the beach, the cups with the water symbol, and the 9 also being a completion symbol. And then the 9 of Pentacles, you know, like upright, it can be very prosperous and like completion and very like materialistic card, but the reverse it's just kind of a caution to like stay in balance. So then we also have that with the dark and the light. And I kind of feel like that's a reminder to stay in balance so that you can have the flow of the 10 of Cups. And there's also a message coming through of consuming less but creating more. So again, coming back to creativity. And I don't know if I'm gonna put this up or not. Like, I thought I was gonna have a quiet moment to do this, and there's a couple distractions, so I guess I'll have to see if I want to just be imperfect. Or redo it. I don't know, we'll see. Weird. Okay, so I'm kind of thinking out loud as I'm doing that, which is distracting, but then grab the 2 of Pentacles reversed, and then we have another 8 coming through, so I don't know that I will be redoing this because that's just too great. Okay, so not only is the 9 of Pentacles reversed reminding us to stay in balance, like not live beyond our means, manage our resources. The 8 of Pentacles, well, it's not the 8 of Pentacles, sorry, it's the 2 of Pentacles reversed, but there's this green ribbon that's just echoing the 8/8. So with it being reversed, it's kind of like we're just starting to gain confidence in something. And this is just a reminder that, you know, the lion's known to be so confident and just so, you know, courageous. But courage, like the Latin root, is with core, with, and then it's heart. It's actually with heart. It means with heart. And then my doggy enters the room. So it's not about like going out and slaying the dragon and being the brave, tough, strong, no feeling, you know, message we've been sent. It's more about, are you operating from your heart? Are you being true to your heart? Are you being true from within? And you know, if you're working on something that you want to bring into the world, or you need some extra confidence to put yourself out there, like it might be lacking at this stage, and like it simply means practice more. And the reminder here is that growth happens in a circular manner. It's not linear. But definitely the green, the heart chakra, and Anahata, the heart chakra. So again, this heart, that's the creative pulse of the sun, that shines that gives our universe life, that gives us life. That's how we create, right? Like, Leo is also known for, like, creativity, fun, and then it's also sexuality because there's a creation element involved in sex. And that's true of anything, like, artistically too, right? You're taking something from the void of nothing and bringing it into form, which is what was so prominent about the crow and the raven card. Someday I will live in the woods and it will be quiet. For now, we got to work around some extracurricular sounds. Okay, this card just flew out. Queen of Cups, little wave to say hello. As a reminder that the Ten of Cups is possible. I feel like the message coming in here really strong is like, whatever that desire in your heart is, like, if it's weakened or it doesn't feel possible right now, this is a reminder that it is. It is. I love this card in this deck. This like just little wave hello, like hello. And I'd say from the visuals of this card again, like, she's just enjoying her cup of tea and she's floating, right? So this reminder that, like, you don't have to work so hard. Is there a way to work smarter, not harder? Is there a way to find relaxation and rest that's deeply needed so that insight can just flow to the surface, come so, you know, still be working and practicing, but without the stress if possible. And the Queen of Cups is going to be a powerful, feminine, emotional, subconscious energy, again, of the dark. Kind of chaotic, but deeply feminine. And I feel like this card is just a little like, remember to say hello to that and honor that within yourself. Not be afraid of it, right? The patriarchy in the past 2,000 years has been so terrified of that and so programmed into being terrified of that this card is just so lighthearted, you know? It's like, no, just, hi. How can you be cool off? Nourishing. Just go for a float, right? Get in touch with what really matters. Say hello to what it is you want to create. Okay, and then, well, this is a strong card to go right next to it. King of Swords. So, some powerful cat energy, some powerful masculine energy right next to this flowy feminine queen. And then we have this, you know, very direct, looking you directly in the eye, doesn't mess around, King of Swords energy. So I feel like that's also saying, it's a nice juxtapose with the floaty water energy of like, remember to be direct and look at things head on. And then I'd say, seeing as how that's over the Two of Pentacles reversed, like with whatever you're needing to practice or work on or put some energy into finding your confidence, it'd be better to deal with that directly, slice through it directly. Like, don't let there be any funny business, which doesn't mean you have to be harsh, right? There can be a big difference between being authoritative and being aggressive. So I feel like the message here is, again, coming back to finding movement within a balance of this strong, direct masculine energy and this softer, feminine, just like essence that can just carry you. right? So there's this, how do you hold both? How do you hold this I'm carried, I don't have to work so hard, I can just be like in touch and in tune and in the waters, I can find flow, I can have I can have peace in the present moment and know that what's in my heart is possible, fulfillment is possible, but how do I also stay in balance and be looking at things head on, looking at them in the face, not pretending not to see them. Trying to feel, I think I'm going to pull one more card and then we'll end it there. Just trying to like feel if there's anything else that wants to come through that King of Swords. I feel like there's something else that wants to come through there. It's really the first sword card we've seen so far, but it's a cat. So we have some golden cat-eyed energy, some really raw power. I guess just like Raven is saying, don't be afraid of the dark. I feel like this sword is saying like, don't be afraid of being direct, and don't be afraid of like piercing the heart of the matter. That's what wants to come through with that card. And this element of stand up for what's in your heart. Definitely stand up for what's in your heart. And I've said this before in other readings, but like, it's at the end of the day, it's between you and Source. So you ultimately don't need to get too caught up in what another thinks. Keep that connection in integrity and be willing to like just stand for it the way this card is standing, and then it's all gonna be okay. Because it's like so serious, and then so it's, hey, what's up? How do you hold those two energies? I feel like that's also saying around the new moon to tap into both qualities there. And if one's getting out of balance, how do you shift back into the other, right? And also I'm just seeing this as I'm shuffling, looking down, right? But we have this, like, how do we cultivate confidence and practice of what's in our heart that we want to share? Like, what gifts we might be wanting to bring forward into the world that's needed, that we uniquely have to offer from our heart to get to this infinite present moment of flow and abundance. But we might be stuck in the middle right now, like unsure of how to do that, unsure of what's next, unsure of where the resources are coming from. And maybe not, but if that's the case, I feel like this ribbon here is, it's like bridging the two. And that there will be movement forward for good or bad, dark or light, no matter what you're going through right now, positive or negative. The creation in your heart is possible. And with a strong balancing of masculine and feminine energies, maybe being a little bit more conservative right now, practicing a little bit more, but like keeping the ultimate vision strong in your heart. And then know that the sun, it's kind of neat to see the sun in the night sky here, right? And remembering wherever that you are on it's all cyclical. That message really came through to me last week. I felt like last week was a really challenging week for me personally, maybe collectively. And I just kept hearing that like I just kept getting the image of a clock. And I guess I've already explained that, so I don't need to be redundant, but it's not like, oh, you're on the dark side now, you've failed. You're a loser, you're all the work you've done is for nothing. Like, it's not, it's just where it is on, you know, and in the astrology and the zodiac chart, like the IC is the midnight point, the MC is the light of day, and it just will continue to change. And so to not get stuck in any one moment, you know, there can be great cleansing in tears and letting go that can bring back this flow and joy of the Ten of Cups. So that ended up just being like a summary of this reading, and then I'll just pull one last card to end it here. And I'll just say, like, thank you for taking time to tune in. I love this, like, little intimate group we have. I hope that you got something from this, and if you did or anything resonates or you care to share it all, like, I would love to hear about it in the comments. And yeah, I just appreciate, thank you for your support. And I hope you're all doing really well. So, okay, so final card for the new moon of August 8/8, 2021, to sum up this entire message that we need to hear collectively at this time, is the Five of Swords reversed. So Five of Swords traditionally is conflict and like a lot of tension, hostility, which, I mean, that's definitely up in the collective. The reversed is going to be, it can still be conflict, mental conflict, tension, you know, power struggles, all that fun stuff. But the overarching message for the whole reading is going to be like, just don't waste your time and energy on battles that can't be won. Act only on things that matter the most to you. So just don't scatter your energy, don't waste your energy, don't, you know, like, remember to pause. And the importance of that message coming through is like, so we have the heart chakra is this green energy, and this is going to be like solar plex energy. And if you just look at the card, it's like those little, it looks like a yellow ribbon has been cut up and scattered, right? So the solar plexus would be the yellow energy, and that center is right under your heart, like in between your ribs and your sternum. It's the third chakra up, and it's the I am. It's your I am essence. It's like, I imagine it is just like yellow sunlight shining forth, that creates your will. And so in this card, it's cut up and scattered. So there's this message here of to not scatter your energy and don't waste it on like the whole pick your battles, and just like mentally don't scatter your energy, right? Like, don't be too outwardly focused or watching the news or just getting caught up on social media. Like, really, I feel like this is a message to really be aware of what's happening with your energy and it's easy to get lost in the mind or worries of survival in the future and just to have this happen and like totally lose touch with what our heart intention is, right? So come back to the heart intention, come back to the practice and the focus, the direct focus. I think I'm actually going to draw one more card. I feel like that was really significant, but I don't feel like that's an end card. Visually, it's also interesting if you look, right, like if we're putting the Five of Swords reversed in between the Queen of Cups and the King of Swords, sort of this upward movement energy directed outward, which is what masculine energy is. It's moving out from the center. And then feminine is down and in, right? So there's like this bigger sword pointing down and in. That's only because it's reversed. And it's just the visuals of showing 5 swords, but I also feel like it's saying there's some strength in connecting to the water, to going into the dark, to not being afraid of the dark, to be willing to get wet, to jump in the river, and then also like mentally and thought-wise, right? The idea of like, if you struggle and thrash around, you're going to drown. And if you can just be light, you're going to float. So just a little reminder of that as well. And I know it's like so easy to say stay in the heart, but there's like so much going on that it's not easy. So how can you come back to your breath, to getting in the body itself, and to not, because the mind can just dissociate and run away and be everywhere but present. And if you're in the body, you're present. And the feminine in the water is obviously in the body. Which can sometimes be uncomfortable, right? So being willing to be uncomfortable and be direct. I really thought that I was going to have pure quiet and keep this under a half hour. And now here we are at our usual mark and usual interruptions. Okay, these are going to be the 2 final cards. I pulled them together. So we have the Justice card and the Ace of Cups reversed. So the balance theme has returned. The feather theme has returned. The heart theme has returned. Wow, that's a really strong card to end on. That's what I always say about that card is it's between you and your heart. So after death, if your heart was weighed against the feather, representing the goddess of truth, how would your heart do? And then the Ace of Cups reversed. It's still a positive omen, actually. It's just indicating a hesitancy to jump in, right? So whatever this is that we're wanting to create, that we need to practice, be true to our heart and nothing else, and not scatter our energy. There's this element of being willing to jump into the pool. So you don't necessarily have to push yourself, but just if you feel inspiration already, like this card is saying go ahead and jump. And then there's also that it's going to lead to this, right? We still have this pink, the same, almost same ribbon continuing. So that one's black and brightly colored, and then this one's a little bit more pink and fluffy, but it's still ultimately leading back to the Ten of Cups. So interesting, all of the eights and the heart and the birds and the feathers. Okay, and then just one last card is the Four of Pentacles, and we'll end there. And it also looks like the 88. It's just like I feel like I'm tripping at this point. Okay, that's feeling like a good card to end on, and complete this with. If you've hung in this long, I appreciate your time and attention. So again, the balance theme, the 4 is going to be the balance theme, but this is going to be in the material world, with the pentacles representing coins. And then just, it's all going to come together. That's not what that card means, but that's what that card means in this reading. That there's a level of trust that Spirit has your back, and something really good is going to come from your process. And it's also a message to like not get too caught up in the material, even if all that's going well. Okay, and then I'm just going to pull one last Starseed card, and that is the Earth Pulsing. It's like this really beautiful waterfall, and what's weird about that is I pulled a card earlier for myself from this deck, and it was the same card. So it's essentially just saying slow down and take time in nature. There is a mysterious pulse woven through all of life. The planet itself has a rhythm. You can see it in the seasons and tides. In our world of artificial lighting, long work hours, and modern conveniences, it's easy for us to feel stuck and off kilter. But it's time to reconnect with nature and surrender to the pulse of the earth. Earth pulsing is my favorite tool for surrendering to the rhythmic pulse of the mother, and the entire universe. Because today so many of us are disconnected from the land beneath us. Somewhere along the way, a severing happened, a moment when it became too painful to stay connected. We feel unsupported and as if we don't belong. We look to other people in the external world to fill the void of the connection, holding and belonging that was once given to us by the earth. Taking, clutching, conquering, longing for others to receive us fully, as the mother once did, forgetting that she's still here, waiting for us to remember and activate the part of us that longs to receive her embrace. When you consciously connect with the earth, a veil is lifted and she opens up and receives you more fully. You're able to drink from her sweet waters and release what no longer serves you. Stagnant energy falls away and you become connected to all things on the planet. So, reconnecting to the feminine energy that's been forgotten but not lost, and can help rebalance, find balance, find connection, stop getting caught up in the external, and really connect to spirit in a more grounded way. So yeah, that's what wanted to come through. Thanks for tuning in.